Okay, so we should be live in a few seconds. Okay, so I hope that we are live.
Maybe give it a sec. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it just a few seconds. Live.
Now I'll
in
try
a few
to
seconds.
settings.
Yeah,
I
this is
have
perfect.
unmuted the video. Yeah.
Cool. I can see that we are live already.
Perfect.
Hope that some people are watching us, and if you guys are watching us, give us a shout in there. Perfect. Cool. So let's start talking about today's topic. And this is a very, very interesting topic. I'm here with Anna. Today we will talk about cultural differences between Eastern Europeans and Western Europeans. And it's going to be very interesting because we'll share our experiences as well. And you all probably know me. My name is Annamaria. You're on my channel, and I'm happy to see you guys here. I'm really happy to connect with you. And today I am hosting this video with Anna. Yeah, we have the same name.
Hello, everyone.
She's living in Cork, I'm living in Dublin, and Anna has a YouTube channel, which is a very, very interesting channel about life in Ireland as well. So she has moved to Ireland not so long ago. And you can find there a lot of information about Ireland as well. And I'll let Anna introduce herself and tell you more about herself.
Hello, everyone. So I have been living in Cork, Ireland for 2 years now. I have been working for an Irish logistics company, and also I was working for an international cloud company, VMware, and I've been living here 2 years. And before coming here, I portrayed an image in my head, and it was a biased image based on the stereotypes I read in the magazines and on the newspapers about Ireland. So when I actually came here, lots of stereotypes and presumptions, they were broken down.
Yeah, I can imagine this because everyone has like certain assumptions, everyone has like certain stereotypes, and when you meet the culture, you actually find out that we are so different, and it's not what you expected. So yeah, do you think that we can start talking about the cultural differences and discussing them from our points of view and how we dealt with them?
Yeah, exactly. Let's start and let's outline some prominent Irish customs and habits, and overall just interesting peculiarities as compared to the Eastern Europe, because we are both coming from Eastern Europe. Would be happy to speak about and discuss with everyone, because I know for many people when they come to Ireland, it's a cultural shock, and there are lots of lots of things to be aware of. And I think it will be interesting for everyone to know what exactly we faced when we came here, and what are these Irish traditions, Irish traits.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you. And, it's about learning the culture as well. And it's not only about learning a certain language. My English teacher told me that, when you come to a country, you need to learn the culture. And this is very important. And this is almost like learning the language. So today we'll share how we learned the culture. Cool. Let us start with the cultural differences, and let's start talking about timekeeping. I think this should be something very interesting and something that actually, I can't say surprised me, but it's something that I really enjoy in here. And would you like to share your ideas, your opinion, how you find timekeeping, how you find people in Ireland about timekeeping?
Yeah, sure. Overall, I would say that stemming from the Irish being a very relaxed race, this means that Irish often take schedules as more suggested rather than definite, and they are rarely on time. And overall, I would say that the attitude to timeliness in Ireland is refreshingly negotiable. And it's very interesting because Irish are very relaxed, they are very chilled out, and Yeah, I would say that the reason for that is being so close to the Atlantic Ocean, Atlantic air, Atlantic vibes. And that's the reason I think this triggers this calm state of mind. And yeah, so if you arrange a meeting with an Irish person for, let's say, 8 p.m., they most likely will turn up at 8:15.
Maybe even 9. Yeah.
Exactly. And I know that in Eastern Europe, this would be rude and sometimes even impolite to negotiate, to arrange a meeting and then to turn up like 15 minutes late. But it's just, you have to embrace this authenticity of the Irish culture. And just because they are so relaxed and laid back, that's why I think they don't really, they don't get overly stressed about time. Yeah, especially when you're arranging something between friends.
Yeah, no, definitely. This is what I've noticed as well. But to be honest, I'm like that as well. Like, I can't say that if I arrange something between friends, I'm on time. If I say that let's meet at 8, we'll definitely meet at 9, because I will definitely give my friends time to park and come to the place we decided to come to. I can say that I'm pretty relaxed in terms of my like personal time. In terms of work time, I wasn't punctual enough, and this is what I didn't really like about myself. But I've noticed that at work, people always show up on time. Like, doesn't matter what, they will be always early. And I was the person to be always late, and I had to learn from them. I had to learn to be always on time. And it's a huge issue for me. It was a huge issue for me to be punctual. Now it gets much easier, because I can see that people are punctual, that people are always showing up on time. So it motivates me to come on time. And it's mostly about business meetings. In terms of like personal time, yes, I know people do agree at a time they show up a little bit later. And to be honest, this is what I'm doing as well. It probably depends on how we react to this situation. If we take it very seriously, probably yeah, it can offend someone. But I'm trying to be laid back and relaxed as well about this time. I can spend some time on my own. I don't mind waiting for a little bit, especially if I'm not in rush. Then it's absolutely fine.
Exactly. And yeah, you just have to embrace this Irish authenticity. And, it's nothing to be really stressed about. It just, when you come from a different country, it's something to be aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree I agree about it, and it's something nice to know before you come, before you move. It's a little lesson about the culture. Cool. Do you want to move to the next point, which is a very interesting point?
It's a very interesting point. And, before coming to Ireland, I developed in my head an image of a stereotypical Irish person, being red haired
Yeah.
and freckled, and I thought before coming here, I thought that half of the population is red haired. And usually when you watch like advertisement about Ireland or read about Ireland, that's how they portray Ireland most
Absolutely.
of the time in the magazines and overall on the internet. But in fact, statistically, only 15% of the population is red-haired.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting fact, and that's something which the stereotype, this presumption that was challenged and broken down. When I came here, I was expecting, oh my God, everyone is red-haired, but
Yeah.
it's not the case. Only 15% of the population is red-haired.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And this is the stereotype. And I remember watching different programs as well when I used to live in Moldova, and everyone was saying the same thing about Ireland. And I was expecting that thing as well. But people are, yeah, not so many people are red-haired. And like I used to imagine people to be like really orange, like have a proper orange hair. And when I met them, they were like orange mixed with a little bit of brown, orange mixed with a little bit of blonde. So it wasn't like a proper orange. But it's nice to see the fact that it's such a unique culture, it's such a preserved culture. It's nice to see that people are so different, and I think people can use this trait as a very special and unique trait, because I would definitely remember a person with a special color color of your hair. So this is something to use, as I was always saying, you need to be unique, you must be unique, you must embrace it. So this is the time when people can get out of a crowd and can be unique.
Exactly. And you know, an interesting fact as well that in my country, if a person has red hair, then it's very unusual. And some people think that it's a lucky trait. Having red hair and having freckles, it's a lucky trait. But most of the time, it's just so unusual that people don't really yeah, it's just something very very unusual in my country. And coming here to Ireland and seeing this red hair and the variation of red hair, like Irish red hair, you know, it can be really like fire red, you know, and just amazing. I think it's really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. It's a stereotype that we just broke. So people will know what to expect when they move to Ireland or if they come to visit it. Cool. What do you think about moving to the third point, which is being very direct and having a straight talk? This is,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a very different point. It's something that we're not similar with Western cultures at all. So what do you think about straight talk and being direct when you communicate with people?
Yeah, it's very interesting because in my culture, straight talk is considered like usually, you know, in Ireland, straight talk is considered to be impolite. However, in Eastern Europe, it has become a habit and a way of life. That's how people function. They just want to, you know, ask something and give direct answer. Or you know, if someone evaluates like, or you know, just assumption of straight talk, it's just when I came here to Ireland, I think I was rather direct, and it's a bit different here. Irish take into account personal feelings, and they believe that you know, it's impolite to tell the person directly that you are doing this wrong or you're making this mistake. So they like sugarcoating, and they may conceal sometimes an unpalatable truth in an attempt not to hurt your feelings. And they would go about sugarcoating and masking painful actual facts they don't like about you sometimes at work. And for instance, I've noticed that Irish, they will do anything to get out of saying no. And also they, if they know that they, for example, you ask them if they want to meet you and they would not say no, they would say maybe, instead to indirectly, you know, just to indirectly refuse your proposal. And Irish are laid back people who like to avoid conflict, confrontation, and they like to be polite. So if something is likely to rock the boat, then it most likely will be said, you know, in silence. They will not tell. And I would say that they don't like giving bad news, and they will go to great lengths to avoid saying no in general. And for example, I have noticed that at work, some people just would not go, like they would not be given an exact assessment of their performance. And if they you know, if they do something wrong, Irish will go about it very softly, and instead of saying precisely what is wrong about you at work and what they don't like, they might say, oh, you're not necessarily doing this right. And you know, it's just something to be aware of and something to consider here, because I know that in Eastern Europe, sometimes people can be just so direct. They will tell you, no, you're doing this wrong, your performance is bad. But in Ireland, this is very rude.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this is something very, very, very important to keep in mind, especially when
Exactly.
working with different kind of people from different cultures, you know, like we
Yeah.
have to be so careful, especially if you want to work like in big companies like, let's say, Google or Facebook. It's such a there are such a multinational companies, and you need to take in consideration cultures. And, you know, in terms of Eastern cultures, as you mentioned, people are okay if you're not direct. My friends, if you are direct, sorry. My friends always tell me, Anna, be direct. We're okay if I'm not very smiley in real life. We're okay if I can be very sad, but they just want me to be direct, because this is how they see how the real me is. This is how they understand that they know me, they know what to expect from me, and I will not betray them. And when I go back to Moldova and I say thank you, I say please, sorry, so often they tell me that, can you stop that, please? Like, that's too much, Anna, stop that, it's like too much. So they even don't wanna accept people being very nice. They want to see me as I am, they want me to be direct, they want to know what to expect from me. As you mentioned, people can tell you straight away into your face everything they think about you, and people say that, yes, I would rather hear a sad truth rather than seeing a person who is being nice to me, but in reality they don't like me. In terms of Western cultures, there is a huge contrast. People think usually about others' feelings. They are so nice and lovely. They try to avoid saying no. They can say maybe, as you said. And yeah, they're amazing because they think about you, and they use this sandwich approach. So they say that you are so amazing, but if you do something a bit better, you'll be even more amazing. And this is lovely because people are not hurting you. We are trying to think about you. We are trying to work with you in a very positive atmosphere, and this creates a much positive atmosphere. And I've noticed that if I'm very direct, people can think that I'm rude. And if I'm not smiling enough, people can think that I'm rude. But I usually try to show myself as I am. I do not try to hide myself to be like extremely positive if I'm not feeling extremely positive. And I think it can be also very challenging to make friends as well. Actually, about this topic, we had a question which is actually related to our topic. Somebody asked if Irish people are generally friendly, and how long did it take you guys to make Irish friends? It took me a long time personally, because you see people and we are very, very, very indirect. We are very smiley. We are very lovely. And I used to think that, oh my God, all those people, they want to be friends with me. But then I understood that this is just how people must be. They just must smile. They just have to be lovely according to the culture. And I understood that no, it's actually not everyone who wants to be friends with me. And it took me a while to learn to discuss with people before I made some friends. And actually it took me a few years to really understand who actually wants to be a friend with you, because people are not extremely direct, and I can't really understand if they want to be friends or if they don't want to be friends. What do you think, Anna, about this topic about friends and being direct, indirect?
Yeah, it's very interesting topic as well. So, for example, when I came here, I didn't have any friends at all, and so I have been using this application. It's called Meetup.
Oh.
It's very nice, and some Irish people, for example, here in Cork, they arranged a friendship club, and I found this being advertised on Meetup application, and I decided just to come to join them. And they're very sociable, very friendly, and I met many people, in this friendship club. And again, I would not know about existence of this club unless I had this, this Meetup application really helped. So everyone who wants to come to Ireland, download this app, and it will help you, because Irish in Cork, they arrange lots of different meetups and friendship clubs, language exchange. Yeah, but when it comes to actually establishing your footing and finding connections, I would say, yeah, it took me quite a while, and most of my friends actually are coming from work, because we have been working together, and we went to conferences together, and yeah, it took quite some time, and most of my friends are from work. Yes, I have also a few friends whom I met on this meetup, and I would say, yeah, it took me also like a year to to find a core circle of friends. And yeah, it can be sometimes quite tough, because yeah, as you said, that Irish may mask the feelings, and they will be just polite and say, yeah, sure, let's meet again, and then you will never hear them again, and then they disappear. So I would say, yeah, it takes quite a while. You need I think the best way is to, again, attend some social activities, some friendship clubs, and that's where you find people. Because people who organize these events, they already know that kind of, people are coming to Ireland. There are lots of people from different countries. Yeah,
Yeah.
it takes a while. You have to be very active.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And this is an amazing way to integrate in the country. And yeah, I agree that it takes a while to make friends, but then you'll find like really, really cool friends and really cool
Exactly.
people. And as you slowly moved on to the fourth point as well about connections, I wanted to
Mhm.
actually talk about this as well. I think it's very important to build a very, very, very strong network. And this is where I think that Western and Eastern cultures were very similar, because the same happens in our countries. Having a good network, good connections is very, very important for your success, for your society, for people around you. I think that is something that's really, really helps in life. And relationships, I think, are the key to success in our countries and also in Ireland as well. What do you think about it? Did connections help you?
Yeah, a lot actually. And I would say that the issue of trust is very strong in Irish psyche. And, that the word of mouth when someone recommends someone. And I would say that personal recommendations are a valuable currency in Ireland overall. And you can avail of your core circle of friends and also establishing good relationships with your colleagues can sometimes win you a promotion. So yeah, in Ireland, everything is extremely personal. And I would say that's very similar to Eastern Europe, because people rely on recommendations a lot, like heavily, I would say. And even if they have a choice between this person who was recommended by their colleagues, and then another person who is also as skilled as the other one, but was not recommended, they would most likely go for a person who was recommended by
Yeah.
their friends or by their colleagues, acquaintances. And that's the case here. And I would say even it gets easier to find a flat. And if you happen to know a property agent. So what happened to me, actually, I have been looking for an apartment for half a year, and a property agent in this area where I have been looking, she already knew me. And she even rang me and said, I know that you have been looking and going for viewings. I saw you. I know that you have good references. And she decided to offer me an apartment. So it really comes down to how many people you know. And it's very important for everyone who wants to come to Ireland, because you have to establish your circle of friends, who can help you with apartments, sometimes with a job. And yeah, that's the case here.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And guys, actually, Anna has a video about how she found an apartment. And if you're looking to rent something, just go to her channel and check that video, because she also mentions about connections and how important it is. You will definitely find something useful about that, because I have no videos about renting, but she will complement my channel with her videos. And I totally agree with what you say. And it's very interesting that we are very similar in this situation. And you told me like there are countries as well that do not value relationships and connections that much. They value skills, they value how amazing you are and stuff like that. But I can see that in Ireland it's happening, the same thing is happening. And as you say, if somebody recommends a person, then there is more trust towards that person. I imagine an employer, yeah, imagine the employer, he wants to get a person who will really be great, will work in the team, a person who can be trusted. And obviously it's hard to just judge a person because you have one or two interviews with that person and you don't know if that person is a trustful person. But if somebody knows that someone, yeah, they will say that, oh, I know him, he's honestly trustful. And the employer actually believes that, oh yeah, with that person I'm gonna work easier. And probably with connections, you can find friends, you can find a job, you can find a flat, as you mentioned as well. And I have noticed that if I have good relationships with people, my job is generally about making good relationships with people. I have noticed that people will always make you some favors. They will always maybe recommend you something. They will always help you if you need, and they will always, be like soft to you. They will be like, like, it's not really allowed, but I'll let you do that. That's no problem, especially for you. And I think connections
Exactly.
really help, and it's something very important for people. Probably they should follow your advice and try to meet people, make connections, make friends, have good relationships. And it's a bit of a work at the beginning, but then you will get all the benefits from it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally true.
What do you think about moving to our fifth point, which is when people are responsible and very, very hardworking? Yeah, what do you think about Irish people from the responsibility and hardworking point of view?
Yeah, so it's an interesting point to highlight. And I think for many people who are coming here, they also formed some prejudices, some presumptions, stereotypes, overall. And I would say me, myself, I developed this image that Irish are so laid back, that they don't really care sometimes about work, their responsibilities. But so I have been working for an international company, and I was surrounded by many Irish colleagues. And I was surprised to find out that Irish people can be indeed very conscientious, they can be very diligent, hardworking, and responsible. And to the contrary to what I have been reading about Irish being too relaxed sometimes, I have come to appreciate that Irish can be as hardworking and conforming as Germans, because in German culture everyone is like really conforming to the rules and sticks to the rules. Yeah, and I would say it really comes down to a person. It can be very customary, but in general, I've noticed that Irish people at work are very, very responsible, and they come on time. They fulfill all their duties. They stick to the rules. But yes, I know that we highlighted that sometimes they may not come on time, but it only relates to friendships.
Yes, yeah, to personal
Like
life.
this, yeah, it's this person, yeah.
Yep.
And, it's more like friendship when you're a friend. But when it comes down to work, it's a different matter.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And this is what I'm learning from people here, especially because I work with a lot of Irish people. And when I talk to them, they're so responsible. They're like, oh, did you do that? And did you do that? And did you do something else? And I'm like, oh my God, I have to quickly start doing everything and being more responsible. So I'm learning to be more responsible from them. And what I really like is that it's something that I'm learning from them. And I think it's an amazing thing to do. And it will help everyone in the whole world. If you want to help someone, if you can help someone, and if you tell them that you will try to sort this issue and you'll get back to that person by, let's say, 12 p.m. tomorrow, you get back to that person by 12 p.m. tomorrow with no excuses. Just get back. If you didn't manage to get that thing sorted, tell the person that, look, I need 2 more hours to get it sorted, and contact them back in 2 hours. And this is what I've learned from people in Ireland, that if I promise something, I have to get back to them, even though they will not message me. They will not really ask me if I got it sorted, because they try to be very polite. I will try to get back to the person I promised to help. And I think this is so important to learn from people in Ireland, to be very responsible, to do what we promised to do. And I'm trying to learn it, and I'm really happy that I had the chance to actually enlarge my horizons, and to learn something useful from other people. And yeah, like, we have to do what we promised. This is like a great trait to have. What do you think
Uh,
about discussing a positive attitude of Irish people? Oh my God, I think, have you heard? I think a few years ago there was a football match, and Irish people went to, I can't remember, somewhere in Eastern Europe, and Irish people were called the friendliest and the nicest football fans in the world. It was a few years ago. I'm not a football fan, but I remember that everyone said that Irish are the friendliest, the nicest, the coolest, the most positive football fans. What do you think about this positive attitude that people have here?
Yeah, what I've noticed that Irish try to project this upbeat behavior, and overall, I know that in Eastern Europe, if like for example, if a person does not like something in Eastern Europe, they can show resentfulness openly in public. So they can be sad, or someone has a bad day, and in Eastern Europe it's fine to show it in public. But in Ireland, I would say, even if you are resentful and you're having a bad day, you try to be positive nevertheless, and they respect they respect when a person is upbeat. And I wouldn't say that it's overly exaggerated here in Ireland. I wouldn't say so. It's very, like, I would say they are walking a fine line.
Yeah.
And it's really they are very upbeat. They smile a lot, and when I came here, I've learned to smile more. And
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, and also Irish people, they have this it will be grand attitude, which is something I learned as well. So Irish believe that sometimes things will solve themselves out. And everything will turn out as it should be by magic. Sometimes I know it's really funny, but they really have it will be grand attitude. And oftentimes, I would say something I noticed that oftentimes, but again, it's very customary. It's not everywhere like that, but sometimes actions are missing to make things work again. So they will be like, it will be grand, the situation will solve itself out. But sometimes they really, can be ignorant to some obvious problems and facts. That's something I've noticed in this culture. But again, it's not often the case. And overall, I would say that Irish respect, and they expect polite and reserved behavior, and and they find pretentious behavior to be very off-putting, and they expect also people to be mannerly. And not obnoxious, and this is something I really like about this culture. There is no pretentious behavior. If they smile, they mean it. And it means they like you. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very interesting point to mention as well, because here I've learned to smile a little bit more. I was like, oh my God, why is everyone so smiley and I'm so sad? And this is
Exactly.
how we are in Eastern culture, in Eastern Europe. Yeah, we're not extremely smiley, and we can smile sometimes only. And and people also in Eastern Europe, I would say they do panic more. Like, I even look at myself and at my mom. Like, she can panic from like nothing. She will be like, "Oh my God, something is happening. We're in rush," and she's panicking so much. And in here, people are much more laid back, and we are smiley. We are having like a positive attitude, and I've learned this thing from them as well. So I
Yeah.
feel that I'm not panicking that much in my life anymore. And like I try to learn it from people as well, and I try to learn to smile more and to keep a positive attitude. Obviously, it's not happening all the time, and we're not all the time like walking like this, smiling.
Yeah.
But it's great to see people with such nice attitudes. It just makes us feel better in life, and this is something to
Definitely.
learn. Especially if you come from a culture where you don't really smile, where everything is bad, and it's okay to show that everything is bad. Probably if you come to Western cultures, it's nice to just show that, just to be a bit more smiley when you
Yeah,
interact
to
with
be a bit
people.
more positive, because again, if you are at work and you are surrounded, by many colleagues, and you sometimes, like I had this in my in the company I have been working for, we had different cultures, people from absolutely different countries, and from Eastern Europe as well. And I've noticed that people from Eastern Europe sometimes they do not really take account that when you're in public, and it's good to have this positivity, because not everyone understands that you might be having a bad day. And sometimes if you you try to project this upbeat behavior, it just overall, I would say, people think of you as a nice and polite person. And yeah, that's something I would say I've noticed. And yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
something
Yeah.
interesting. You know that in Eastern Europe, people sometimes can scowl and they're like, "Oh, I am having such a bad day," and you know this face.
Yes, absolutely.
And some people, you know, if you're working for an international company, some people may not understand and they may think, oh my God, what did I do something bad to this person? But
Yeah.
it's not about you, it's about them, that they're having a bad day. But that's what I like in Ireland, that yeah, everyone just tries to be very positive. It's nice. It's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, absolutely. And what you said, that you see someone in a company being like, let's say you come to work and you're not really happy, and some people can project it on themselves. They can think that they did something wrong. So especially I think that if you work, if you interact with different kind of cultures, don't really project something on yourself, but probably just try to communicate with that person and find out. So most likely the reason is not you, the problem is not you. Something happened to that person. And something else, actually, somebody asked us a very interesting question. So, Robin,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
ask,
then,
yeah,
yeah, sure.
ask an interesting question. He would like to know what is considered to be rude in the Irish culture. And there is something very interesting to tell you. Like a very interesting story to what is considered rude to be in the Irish culture. Um, I told you, Anna, but I want to tell to guys that in our countries, there is a lot of mud on the roads. So when you come to someone's house, when you come to visit someone, when you come to your own house, you take your shoes off. Yeah, so this is very
Yeah.
important. If I wouldn't take my shoes off, if I'd come to visit you, let's say in Ukraine, you would look at me and be like, "Oh my God, she's extremely rude." And taking the shoes off in Ireland is not polite at all. I was surprised to find it out, but as far as I understood, and as my Irish teacher told me, that it's not polite to take your shoes off when you come to someone's house. You have to walk in wearing your own shoes. And if you take your shoes off, it means that you'll start taking your clothes off. So it's something very mm, not polite. So you understand that if you take your all clothes off, it's not gonna be like just sitting on a chair. Yes, so it's going to be something more. And I was surprised. I was like, oh my God, I used to offer to take my shoes off just because I respect people and I don't want them to clean the floors after me. And this is a very, very interesting story. So if you take your shoes off in Ireland, it means that you'll take all your clothes off. And I suppose that when I went to visit Irish people, I usually offered, should I take my shoes off? They always said, no, 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 you don't have to. And I suppose that they didn't really understand why I offered to take my shoes off. They probably were surprised. I hope they understood that I'm not going to take my clothes off. But probably people just haven't seen like very dirty roads. It's something
Yeah.
that I have never seen in Ireland. It's something that I have never seen in Eastern Europe. In Western Europe, because in Eastern Europe, in our countries, the roads can be dirty. There is a lot of mud, a lot of rain, and yeah, we have to take our shoes to be nice and polite.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
actually that the reason for that being that in Ireland they have very good drain flooding systems.
absolutely.
So if it rains, there are no puddles on the streets, and and it's very clean, and it rains a lot. And when the drain flooding system works efficiently, it means that there is no mud, there are no puddles on the streets, so it's absolutely clean. But I know that in Eastern Europe, it's just, yeah, it can be sometimes not that clean, and that's why it's just a good gesture to remove your shoes in order not to bring,
Yeah,
some
mud inside. Yeah.
mud or some something.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when I see these roads, I'm like happy to pay my taxes because I see that the money that I pay to the government, they go towards improving the infrastructure, and this is amazing. This is not what is happening in Eastern European countries. So yeah, it's a really cool thing. And I know that you had a story to what is not considered to be very, very polite in Eastern countries. So when this happens between Eastern and a Western person, it can create like some
Tension.
uncomfortable tension. Yes, yes. Do you want to tell us your story? That would be really interesting to know.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So when it comes to visiting friends, Irish don't seem to have any specific traditions. And I would say in Eastern Europe, when you are setting off to pay a visit to your friend, when you have been invited, it is considered to be a good and polite habit to bring a small treat with you. So sometimes it can be just, some sweets, cookies, it really depends, but it doesn't have to be something really big. It can be something small, but it's just a nice treat. And I did not seem to notice any well-established traditions in Ireland when it comes to visiting friends. And I would say that I remember I had a meeting with my friend, and so Irish friends, they came to my house and they did not bring anything. And I was, when you're coming from a different culture, sometimes you are like, oh, in my culture, it's actually impolite that you do not bring anything because you have been invited. But in Ireland, again, you have to embrace this Irish culture and to understand that it's not the case in Ireland. So if obviously it is customary as well, but most of the time, I would say Irish are laid back. They would not necessarily bring something. And but at first, I had this like a small kind of culture shock because it's different. It's just a different traits that they have and that we have from Eastern Europe. And but I would say that there are definitely some similarities. And so for example, Irish people, when they invite you, they like to treat you. They might offer you a cup of tea. You don't have to bring anything with you, but they might offer you a meal, a cup of tea or a cake, So they offer it from their house, and it can be any kind of meal. And it's really interesting. And again, when people come here to Ireland, they just have to, don't get overly stressed about these strike differences. Mm-hmm. It's just a different culture, and we have to adjust. We have to adjust to this culture, and that's it. No need to panic. No need to panic.
Absolutely, just have a positive attitude. And this is very interesting because like we're talking about these cultural differences, and I feel that when I used to live in Moldova, I used to be like in a box thinking. There is just black and white. There is no other colors. And when I moved here, I understood that people can be so different. People can have so different opinions. Even like on my YouTube channel, I can see people looking at the same thing from so many angles, and they look at that same thing from different angles and from their own experience, from their own life. And
through their own lenses.
Absolutely. And I don't know if I became, but I tried to be much more open-minded. I try to accept different people, all their opinions. This is amazing. I look at their opinion and I think that, they should probably have a different life experience. They should have probably a different I don't know, culture, different mood and stuff like that. Do you feel yourself a bit more open-minded when you embrace a different culture?
Yeah, I would say so as well. For example, I've noticed that Ireland is, is proud to be very innovative country, and people like, for example, when I came here, I was really surprised to see how many startups are in Ireland. And Ireland is relatively small country, and if you look at the amount of startups, so they are very open-minded to innovations. And if there is very, like a nice idea in your head that you want to implement in real life, Irish people, they are very open-minded. They will consider your opinion. And I'm happy to be in such an innovative culture with lots of ingenious people. And like, for example, not many people know that, but there have been so many innovations in Ireland. Like, for example, submarine was created in Ireland, and it's just really very innovative culture, and that's what I like. And I also noticed, that I opened up and my thinking, like I broadened up my horizons, and I just my thinking started to be more like
Open-minded.
Multifaceted. Yeah, it's very open-minded, and I observe all this new ideas, and it's very nice and very interesting here.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with what you said. What do you think if we go through some comments, maybe answer a few questions for a few minutes?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I have here something from Paul, and I suppose Paul is from Ireland. So he
Mhm.
mentioned that we bring gifts to friends on special occasions. We only bring gifts to friends on special occasions. This is very interesting to know, and
Okay.
yeah, thank you for actually sharing with us. And I think if you guys as well read the comments, you'll find something very interesting. We'll try to read just as much as we can today. And I am just gonna look here for a few more comments and maybe a few questions that are gonna be interesting to answer.
Yeah, sure. Fire away, fire away. Yeah.
Cool. So Paul mentioned that of course we are the friendliest people in the world. Yeah, yeah. As I remember that match, there was a match where Irish people were considered to be very friendly and very smiley, which is absolutely very nice. Um, and the rest of the world could learn the positive attitude. Yeah, actually, I totally agree. And we are here to learn the positive attitude. And I would really like Moldova to embrace this positive attitude because sometimes people can be too rude, honestly. So I'm trying to bring this positive attitude when I go back to Moldova, and I hope that people will slowly embrace it from me. What do you think? Do you feel yourself more positive when you go back to Ukraine? Do you try to bring this positive attitude in Ukraine to your friends?
Yeah, I would say so. That I try to bring this positive attitude, and I try to project this positive image of myself, and it's something I've learned here in Ireland, and I really like it. And and also, like, for example, what I've noticed when I come at home, which is very unusual. I don't know, maybe for some people it's not new, but for me, when I came to Ireland, you know that in Ireland there is no high rise skyline, and there is much more space. And the average height of a building in Cork City is actually is 4 to 6 stories, and these buildings being around 2 to 3 floors when you go, to the suburbs. And for me it was very unusual, and you can see this open sky, and there are not that many skyscrapers, but because in my city, first of all, I'm coming from a huge city with lots of buildings and a block of flats. I'm living in 9 block of flats, 9 stories block of flats, and it's just, you feel like you are in a concrete jungle at home when I come to home. So I had this strange feeling, almost feeling claustrophobic, because it's just space everywhere, and there is not much open space where you can see the sky. And that's what I enjoy in Ireland, that the buildings here are very the heights is very moderate, and I like that it's regulated by the government, and they do not break the laws and don't build these huge skyscrapers. There is lots of nature, and I love it.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that you said that one of the reasons to move to Ireland in one of your videos is the nature. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's beautiful. Also, Robert mentioned here that probably about roads. He said try to move to Irish countryside and farms. So probably he meant that in the countryside and in the farms, the roads are obviously much worse, and I suppose that there is mud. And I remember that when I was traveling like to different parts, like when I was going to Cork and then I went to Galway, and I've seen that the countryside actually doesn't have perfect roads. So yeah, I really hope that this situation will change with time, and slowly the roads will be built. But yeah, obviously there are some certain places with some mud in there. Probably the infrastructure will slowly but get built.
Yeah, it'll change for the better. And and I also enjoy this nature, proximity of the Atlantic Ocean, and the air is so clean. And in Cork we have lots of beaches, coastal lines, and that's what I like here a lot. And and something very interesting what I noticed when I came here, some idioms that Irish people use, and maybe for someone who is watching us at the moment, it may be interesting. For example, Irish people can say, "What's the crack? What's the crack?" And I was like, "What does this mean?" And actually, it means how are you doing? How have you been since the last time we met? And also they have this kind of slang word, savage. Oh, it's savage. And it was like, what is this savage? What is that? And it actually means that something is super cool, super nice, oh, it's savage. The party was savage. It means that the party was insane, amazing. And also regarding when it comes to pronunciation, when I was studying at the university, I've learned, for example, some words are pronounced differently. For example, something like negotiate, I would pronounce negotiate, and I know that that in Ireland it would be negotiate. That's how most Irish people would say this. Or I've learned that we pronounce appreciate, but in Ireland they would say appreciate. So again, it's different pronunciation, and it was something new to me. And again, slang, they like to use this expressive English language with lots of phrasal verbs, and I really like it. The language is very juicy, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And I think it's very important to learn the pronunciation, to learn the slang, because this is what's going to make your speech natural. This is what will help you to talk with people very easy. And this is a whole process. And I think that this is actually, we can make like loads of videos, like separate videos, and talk about that. And this would be pretty interesting for guys as well. Something I wanted to say is that we're here for about 50 minutes already. I think even a bit more than 50 minutes. And I can see loads of good comments and lovely comments, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. It was like so interesting to have this chat, and let us know what you think about live videos. If you can, let us know in the comments, because I found them so interesting. I love watching live videos because I get closer to the person. I get to know them better. They are not cutting all their wrong words. I just can see as they are, and this makes me closer to the person. And let us know in the comments what you think about live videos. It would be very interesting to know your opinion, and I suppose Anna would really like to know what you think about it.
Absolutely. And I can see that Paul commented that everyone who visits Ireland needs to visit the west of Ireland, the Wild Atlantic Way. And yes, I visited a Wild Atlantic Way, and oh my God, it's absolutely stunning beauty, I would say. And it's actually really not far from Cork, I would say probably 35 minutes by car from Cork. And if you come to Ireland, it's probably one of these places that you have to see because it's like a coastal line and it's very, very long. And I have never seen, it's really like, it's so wild, you really, you come and you understand it's a wild nature. I remember the first time when I came, the wind was blowing so strong, and I was a bit scared because it was just, the wind was so powerful. And it's just a pristine nature. It's a nature which has not been affected much by human product, like there are no factories here, and it's you see the nature in its pristine beauty, and you understand that the human factors sometimes can be very distracting. But here in Ireland, there is not that much production. Of course there is, but it's not overly like and I would say that yeah, it's just amazing. You have to see by the Atlantic Way, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you, guys. Just to mention quickly that guys find this session very interesting and very useful. Thanks a million. We actually enjoyed it
Thank
a
you a
lot.
lot.
Yeah, and to mention about the nature, every time somebody messages me on Instagram and they ask me, Anna, I am coming over to Ireland for a holiday. Can you please give me some advice? Like, what should I see? And I ask them, are you gonna rent a car or you're just gonna use the public transport? And when they say that they rent a car, I straight away tell them, spend a little bit of time in Dublin. Dublin is gorgeous, it's beautiful, but get out of Dublin just to feel the nature. Go to the west of Ireland because it's such a beautiful, untouched nature, and it's something that you will remember forever. It's where you will actually feel the nature. It's where you'll actually feel Ireland, and I'd really, really recommend you, if you drive, if you come to visit Ireland, just visit Dublin. It's a beautiful city, but try to get out as well and see the rest of this beautiful nature. Cool, guys. So I wanted to say thanks for everyone. Thanks for this session. I really enjoyed having Anna here. Check her YouTube
Thank you
channel.
so much. Thank you so much for inviting me. I was really happy to, share with people some insights from my experience.
Yeah, definitely. And I will leave Anna's channel in the description, and I will leave Anna's Instagram in the description as well, where you can check and watch a bit more about her experience in Ireland, in Cork. And thanks a million for being here with us. Wish you a lovely Sunday. We have a beautiful, beautiful weather here, and I just want to run out and enjoy this amazing weather.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching us.
Thank you, and have a lovely day. See you later.